Kyra stood atop the grassy knoll, the frozen ground hard beneath her boots, snow falling around her, and tried to ignore the biting cold as she raised her bow and focused on her target. She narrowed her eyes, shutting out the rest of the world, a gale of wind, the sound of a distant crow, and forced herself to see only the skinny birch tree, far off, stark white, standing out amidst the landscape of purple pine trees. At 40 yards, this was just the sort of shot her brothers couldn't make, that even her father's men couldn't make, and that made her all the more determined, she being the youngest of the bunch, and the only girl amongst them. Kyra had never fit in. A part of her wanted to, of course, wanted to do what was expected of her, and spend time with the other girls, as was her place, attending to domestic affairs. But deep down, it was not who she was. She was her father's daughter, had a warrior spirit like he, and she would not be contained to the stone walls of their stronghold, would not succumb to a life beside a hearth. She was a better shot than these men. Indeed, she could already outshoot her father's finest archers, and she would do whatever she had to prove to them all, most of all her father, that she deserved to be taken seriously. Her father loved her, she knew, but he refused to see her for who she was. Kyra did her best training far from the fort, out here on the plains of Volus, alone, which suited her well since she, the only girl in a fort of warriors, had learned to be alone. She had taken to retreating here every day, her favorite spot, high atop the plateau overlooking the fort's rambling stone walls, where she could find good trees, skinny trees, hard to hit. The thwack of her arrows had become an ever-present sound, echoing over the village. Not a tree up here had been spared from her arrows, their trunks scarred, some trees already leaning. Most of her father's archers, Kyra knew, took aim at the mice that covered the plains. When she had first started, she had tried that herself, and had found she could kill them quite easily. But that had sickened her. She was fearless but sensitive too, and killing a living thing with no purpose displeased her. She had vowed then that she would never take aim at a living thing again, unless it were dangerous or attacking her, like the wolf bats that emerged at night and flew too close to her father's fort. She had no qualms about dropping them, especially after her younger brother, Aidan, suffered a wolf bat bite that left him ill for half a moon. Besides, they were the fastest-moving creatures out there, and she knew that if she could hit one, especially at night, then she could hit anything. She had once spent an entire night by a full moon, firing away from her father's tower, and had run out eagerly at sunrise, thrilled to see scores of wolf bats littering the ground, her arrows still in them, villagers crowding around and looking with amazed faces. Kyra forced herself to focus. She played through the shot in her mind's eye, seeing herself raising her bow, pulling it back quickly to her chin, and releasing without hesitation. The real shooting, she knew, happened before the shot. She had witnessed too many archers her age, on their 14th year, draw their strings and waver, and she knew then that their shots were lost. She took a deep breath, raised her bow, and in one decisive motion, pulled back and released. She did not even need to look to know she had hit the tree. A moment later she heard its thwack, but she had already turned away, already looking for another target, one further off. Kyra heard a whining at her feet, and she looked down at Leo, her wolf, walking beside her as he always did, rubbing against her leg. A full-grown wolf, nearly up to her waist. Leo was as protective of Kyra as Kyra was of him, the two of them, an inseparable sight in her father's fort.